Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Ken the Beefy with the Game Vault. We're going to do an Atomfall review today. I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on this game, the good, the bad, what I think about it. Let's cue the music and we'll get right to it. Released at the end of March in 2025 by Rebellion, Atomfall is often called a survival game, but I would categorize it as an action game with some RPG elements and just a touch of survival mechanics. Are you confused yet? Well, let's break it down. You play as a nameless, faceless, voiceless character that wakes up in a bunker that's in the middle of a quarantine zone set in 1960s Britain, with no idea how he got there. In an age where character creators can take hours of your time to get through, this is a refreshing change and it harkens back to old school games in a good way. Atomfall does this in other ways as well. Now, to break things down, simply your goal is to escape this quarantine zone. That's it. Along the way, you'll learn about the mysteries surrounding the zone and the events that led up to its creation. I won't discuss those here to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible. Let's clarify the game type itself. It's an action game with a semi-open world that is divided into several zones. You're free to move through these zones as you see fit. There are no missions or quests in the classic game sense. Instead, you come across leads as you traverse the landscape. These will show up in a variety of ways, and you're free to explore any of them that strike your fancy. Now, you won't be led around with map markers or on-screen diamonds pointing you in the right direction to go from plot point to plot point until it's time to roll the credits. Old school again. It's quite refreshing, and it will require you to manage your game by keeping track of the lead you're following, and then by being particular about which lead you follow once that one is resolved. Atomfall has several different endings, and you can pursue them all concurrently, and that can get a little confusing. Now, you can fight your way through encounters, sneak your way around them, and elect dialogue choices that impact the game and how it plays out. Combat's challenging, especially melee combat. Guns are a bit better, but ammo's difficult to come by, so being frugal is recommended. Stealth in the game, it's a bit wonky. Sometimes it works like a charm. Other times, enemies will spot you from a ridiculous distance and open fire. It's inconsistent. And while we talk about combat, I'll give a brief mention of the combat AI. It's not great. Old school in a bad way. Here's an example. I came across two enemies from a high ground vantage point. I used a bow and arrow to attack them. They were close together. I whiffed the first shot and alerted the two men. Instead of taking cover and seeking me out, they wandered around in circles like a couple of morons, saying things like, "I think I heard something." The second shot connected, killing one of them, and the second enemy still didn't see cover. This type of thing happened repeatedly in the game. Ducking in the high grass for cover or breaking the line of sight from enemies would cause them to disengage without too much effort as well. You could almost see them shrug their shoulders and shake their heads and say, "I guess they got scared off," or something like that, right before you pop back up for another headshot attempt. Now, there is a decent variety of guns, pistols, rifles, shotguns, SMGs, and more, and you can upgrade them by combining parts from two of them together to make better versions of these guns. There are 3 levels of guns, so it can take several guns to make a top tier one, but it makes a significant difference in my opinion, and it's well worth doing. You can also fashion a variety of throwable weapons like Molotovs and homemade grenades. There's also a variety of combat-enhancing drugs and healing items that you can create using junk that can be found lying around the map and on the bodies of dead enemies. Let's talk about inventory management and trading. This will be a divisive aspect of the game. Inventory space is limited, but early in the game you can find an underground bunker that has a pneumatic tube that can hold up to 100 items in it. That will make a huge difference in your item management. Now, the tubes are located all over the map in convenient locations, and the inventory is shared between them all. That's the good news. The bad news is there's no way to gain room in your personal inventory. You can obtain a Deep Pockets perk that will increase your ammo and crafting supply carrying capacity, but that's it. You won't get a bigger backpack to carry more Molotovs, bandages, or guns. This will force you, as a player, to be very selective when traversing the world. And while we're talking about inventory, we'll discuss trading and vendors. There are a few different vendors in the game. They offer different items and recipes, and they have preferences for what they want in a trade. Yes, I said a trade. There's no in-game currency. No bottle caps, no shillings, no pounds. If you want something a vendor has, you'll need to give him or her something you have, maybe several somethings. This makes everything you find in the game valuable in one way or another, and to be honest, I found it to be a refreshing change of pace and a unique challenge gameplay-wise. Now, there was no farming of random weapons or items to sell them for currency to spend at your convenience. There's also no way to purchase ammunition or to craft it, so this made it one of the most valuable and coveted commodities, at least for me personally. Now, once I got the hang of the inventory system, the pneumatic tube, and learned what the vendors preferred, I really enjoyed that challenge the inventory system presented to me. Now, there are RPG elements in the game in the form of a skill tree, but like many other aspects of Atomfall, this too is not done in a traditional manner. Instead of leveling up with experience through combat and finishing quests, etc., you'll need to locate training manuals and stimulants to unlock new abilities. Due to the scarce availability of the stimulants and the high cost of the skills, you'll want to be a little selective about what skills you want to utilize and plan for them. Now, there are several no-brainers for any playthrough, and the rest are dependent on your playstyle and your preferences. Atomfall gave us a beautiful world to explore. It was large enough to keep things interesting, but compact enough for us not to suffer from a lack of fast travel. There are several underground areas, including a humongous one called the Interchange, that joins all the surface areas together and holds many of the game's biggest secrets. In addition to that, there are caverns, bunkers, and castle ruins to explore, just to name a few of the other locations. This offers a nice variety of places for players to check out. Each one is unique and interesting. The underground locations often have secret areas that will need the player to be observant to locate them. There's no yellow paint or glowing outlines to mark these locations. You'll just need to find them yourself. Old school again. And if you stay focused on your leads and follow only one path towards the end game, you'll end up missing a good portion of the world, I imagine. I didn't have that issue. I wandered like a kid in a toy store and found myself rather unfocused in my initial playthrough. But I can see how the next time I visit the quarantine zone, my time will be a bit shorter and my shoes, well, they'll be a little less worn. Now, I touched on the enemy AI earlier, which is not the best. And the variety of enemies is decent, but not extensive. Humans make up the bulk of your enemies that you're going to encounter, and they're often armed with either melee or ranged weapons, and will fall into one of 3 different factions, each one easily distinguished based on their looks, and often by their choice of weapons. Glowing blue, ghoul-like creatures appear underground in some areas, presumably humans that have been altered by radiation from the accident that created the zone. The occasional and very dangerous robot is found above and below ground, with a couple different varieties found. And there are aggressive plants and swarms of bugs, rats, bats, and birds that are more of a nuisance than a danger. Except for the rats, man. Those damn things are straight out of a Plague Tale. Anyway, the character designs are well done. Far from the hyper-realistic ones we've seen in some games. I'm looking at you, Callisto Protocol. And when interacting with NPCs in conversations or trading situations, they feel a little old-fashioned, harkening back to classic Bethesda or Obsidian games. This fits the aesthetic perfectly, though. The voice acting is top-notch as well. Performances are solid, not over the top, nor are the lines phoned in or cheesed out like old-school Resident Evil was. Not a Jill sandwich to be found. Everyone feels authentic. And you may want to leave subtitles on. Some of the accents are a bit on the heavy side. But dialogue aside, the sound design of the rest of the game was well done. Voices over loudspeakers affirm the oppressive feel of the quarantine zone. Gunshots sounded authentic. Nothing felt out of place or stood out as a deficit for the game. Honestly, the music was not very memorable, if there was any. I honestly can't tell you, even after all the time I spent in the zone. As I approached the end of the game, and again, no spoilers here, I had decided on which path I was going to follow out of the potential several ones I had opened up before me, and when I was in the final set piece, I could see different options were available to me, and that was fascinating because I kind of triggered some of those earlier on in the game. Now, I feel like I could have potentially changed my mind in the last minute and done things differently, or at the very least done so with only a few minor adjustments made at the last minute. But there was no message indicating at any point that I had reached a point of no return, which is common in games with several different endings. It all felt natural and organic up until the credits rolled, and that makes me want to go back in one day, maybe after some DLC comes out, and give that theory a test. Now, bringing it home, Atomfall was a great experience and a breath of fresh air in an industry that has been growing a little stale in recent years. Its strengths more than make up for its weaknesses. The unique gameplay with its leads instead of quests, the lack of map markers and on-screen prompts leading you to your next POI, and the initially frustrating but eventually rewarding inventory and trading system really set this game apart from most of its contemporaries. It may not be for everyone based on the reasons I enjoy it so much. I feel like gaming's become too safe lately, and that developers have dumbed things down so much that much of the challenge has been bled from games. Atomfall gave me a challenge that was entertaining to overcome but not tedious and grindy. It respected my time. At $60, $70 for the deluxe edition that includes future DLC and some startup goodies, I would say it is well worth the money. There's definite replay value here. I personally saw at least 4 different resolutions that were obvious to me with some nuance. There might even be more. Not only that, but you can tailor your gameplay for a unique experience every single time. Want to kill everyone you meet? Go for it. Vendors, enemies, townfolk, NPCs, take them all down like a psychopath. Or go the opposite route and play as a pacifist, whatever you want. The choice is yours, and in a time when we have companies releasing games that give you the option to play things in canon mode, where dialogue choices are made for you to bring you through the story to its most desirable ending, hello Assassin's Creed Shadows, having a moral sandbox is refreshing and exciting. I'd give this game a solid 7.5 out of 10, and remember, I've never played a game that earned a 10. There's always room for improvement. Now, let me know what your thought is on the game if you ever played it. And if you're interested in this game, let me know if this review helped you out with your decision to give it a shot. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.